Good evening, Kentucky. I'm Jonathan Masters, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. And there's just a bunch of general information that I'd like to talk to you about. So there's 4.3 million Kentuckians. 3 million of them are registered to vote. 200,000 are not. Go out and go vote. Just go vote. That's all you got to do. Just go fucking vote. We need a democracy. We need to, I would think it'd be a great idea to actually have a website or have a government that is actually responsive to the people. When the majority of the people get what they want, then that's usually I agree with popular opinion. The war on poverty, on healthcare. The majority of the people want these things, and so if the majority of the people were to actually stand up and demand these things, they would get what they wanted. The majority of Kentuckians do not go vote. 70% or so don't go vote. So if you all go vote, your voice would be heard. It's collectively. I know you can't feel it individually. It's collectively. I'm going to go vote. Go vote with me. I'm voting with you all. And if there's no candidates you like, write your own name. Just go vote. Voting's fun, right? It's the American linchpin. It's required for democracy. So I got this Versailles Treaty that's actually posted up. Well, at the end of World War One, they signed the Treaty of Versailles, which ended all the fighting, all the festivities, right, began. And Versailles Treaty, that's how you say it. It was named after a city in France called Versailles. And there's several actually town names around here. There's it looks like Harned, 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 but that's Harned. There's Madrid city, town, and it's Madrid. They don't say it's Madrid. They don't say Harned. They say it's Harned in Madrid. And then Louisville, they'll say it's Louisville. That's Louisville. So it's named after King Louis. So it'd be Louisville or Louisville. But they say, nah, it's Louisville. And then Versailles, it's Versailles. They say it's Versailles. Where you going? I'm going to go to Versailles. Oh, you mean Versailles? Versailles? You're not from around here, are you, boy? And the French were the first people to discover Kentucky. The first ones to set foot in Boone County was a Frenchman. The French owned the Mississippi River, in the very beginning. And there's a lot of French trading posts in the state of Kentucky. So there's actually a lot of French influence, which would be the reason why we have Louisville, or it would be the reason why we have Versailles. But we say it differently because that's what we do. That's what we do. A brachiopod. Brachiopods are Kentucky's official fossil. Official state fossil is the brachiopod. And they're marine animals that have hard valve shells on the upper and lower surfaces, unlike the Rider Range. Anyways, that's your fossil. The Kentucky fossil is the brachiopod. Here's some more of the state symbols. I really like the Corvette. Just tell you my favorite ones. The sports car, Kentucky, the official state sports car is the Corvette. The official beverage is milk, which is actually awesome. It's good for the dairy industry, but it's does a body good, right? Trout dairy, and then we had Vern. Hey, Vern. Or we had Ernest P. Worrell. Ernest P. Worrell here. So, the milk beverage. We also have L81 soda. So, what's wrong with that? Crider soil. That's cool. Agate. And some Kentucky agate. That's our rock. Coal isn't the rock, it's the mineral. The soil is the Crider soil. Fossil is brachiopod. Gemstone is a freshwater pearl. And so that's all really cool stuff. The wild animal game species I am not too fond of. The tulip poplar, not excited about. The honeybee's alright. Thoroughbred's cool. Blackberries are cool. I think the fruit or the flower should be marijuana though. So the goldenrod, it should be marijuana. Kentucky spotted bass. It's fish. Kentucky's official state fish. The official state flower is a goldenrod. It's a damn weed. It's a weed. Viceroy butterfly. Actually, I want to talk about Kentucky's budget. That's really what I want to be focused on. There's two senators that actually want the death penalty, or they want to put a cost on the death penalty, because usually the endless appeals, the lawyer in the court system is usually what they say they use as a statistic, that it's more expensive to put someone to death than it is to put them in prison for life. And the reason why is the lawyers and the appeals and the court system. Here's the budget. So the budget, the expenditures increased by approximately $1.6 billion from $24 billion in 2009 to $25.7 billion. So Kentucky is spending $26 billion. So I was looking at the war on drugs cost, the war on marijuana in Kentucky cost Kentuckians $19 million, but when they're used to spending $25.7 billion, that's a drop in the bucket for them. They don't care, waste a little bit of money to screw working class peoples over. You got the whole budget process. I want to actually take a look at the numbers. Is really where I want to. There's three funds: the general fund, it's the state fund. Then there's federal funds, funds received directly from the federal government. Other funds, expenditures from revenue sources, and bonds, expenditures from the sale of bonds, generally for capital products. It's just loans. So general fund, taxes; other funds, taxes; federal funds, taxes; bonds, loans. The goldenrod. Oh, that's pretty, actually. I guess maybe I've never seen a goldenrod. Never seen one of these flowers around here. They say they're native to North America, including Mexico. The most herbaceous perennial species found in open areas such as the meadows, prairies, and savannas. Goldenrod, it's a beautifully named flower. I can't hate the goldenrod. But I still think, bluegrass kush would be a better flower. A state symbol for a flower. So there's tax reform. Oh yeah, let's do the budget. Okay, so the budget. Well, what was that? Kentucky state and local taxes. This is KentuckyPolicy.org. Kentucky's upside down tax system. Ask the least from the top of the bracket. So sales and excise taxes are 5.5% for the poorest and 0.8% for the top one. So for the top 1%, they pay less than 1% in their taxes. A flat tax would make them pay 5.5%. Have a flat tax. Flat tax is the way to go. Flat tax is the way we should vote. So go vote for the flat tax. Okay, so you check out the total taxes: 9%, 10%, 10.9%, and the rich 1% is only paying 7.3%. Since the middle class, the middle 20% is paying nearly 11%, I propose an 11% across the board flat tax. Everybody gets charged the same amount. So this means that, only the rates on the rich will go up. Well, it means the rich people's rates will go up, but the poor people's rates will stay the same. And so, yeah, we're raising taxes, but not on the poor, not on the middle class. And it's mostly for the wealthy, to get the wealthy to pay their fair share. It should be a progressive tax system, but I think we have to do a two-dub-step. First get the flat tax, then get a progressive tax. Because, this is ridiculous. Property taxes, they're paying less on property taxes. They're paying less on, or they're paying about the exact same on income taxes. So it's through sales taxes and property taxes. Property taxes and sales taxes is higher than the for working class, middle class, poor people than it is for the top rich, the 1%. So Kentucky's 1%, your Wayne B. Hughes or your Wayne Hughes, whoever the richest guy is, $2.2 billion. Bradley Wayne Hughes, I think is his name. Bradley Wayne Hughes. So Bradley Wayne Hughes is the richest man in Kentucky, and he only is paying 0.8%. Bradley Wayne Hughes isn't paying his fair share in taxes. He's not paying his fair share in sales and excise taxes, property taxes. He's getting a cheaper rate. The sales tax, he is doing okay. And now they're talking about raising a penny on the sales tax. That's how Frankfurt's going to get their money. Raise taxes on just the poor. No, don't just raise taxes on just the poor. Raise taxes on everybody. Evenly. Flat tax. I believe in a flat tax. Because this chart's mind-boggling. You know, for the shares of family income for non-elderly taxpayers. So for the regular Kentucky citizen, the top 1%, everybody making over $330,000. There's a better line of demarcation. $330,000. That's incredible. You could just raise taxes on anybody making over $330,000, 5% more, and they would be paying the same amount that we are, and we would be able to generate so much more revenue. Tax the rich. Tax the 1, the 4, and then the 15%. Well, the 15's 81 to 144, 140. I mean, $100,000 a good job. These are good jobs. But they're already paying their fair. They're paying 15%, then 4%, then 1%. They all need to be paying, or these are they're not paying that percentage. That's the population. They're paying 8, 9, 7, 6. And we're paying 11. So they need to be paying more. So raise everybody's taxes. Raise all the rich people's taxes up. They're going to raise poor people's tax. So let's raise rich people's tax. I'm tired of giving socialism for the rich. I'm tired of the socialism going for the corporations. They get a benefit in all the public services, social services. Then they don't even provide decent wages to where you got to get benefits. So, even though Walmart employs people, they actually wind up costing the state twice as much money because they don't make a livable wage. So, since the middle class is making 11%, we need to the 1%. I think a good line of demarcation. I think $250,000 is a good line of demarcation. $250,000. That's so rich to me. Oh my God, I've been able to live on $10,000 a year. So $250,000, $250,000. My God, that is so much money. $250,000. So that's not the wealthiest people in Kentucky. There's wealthier, and that's not that wealthy. I think when you look at America's wealth, the top 0.001%. So it's actually less than just 1%. But that's good imagery. 99 to 1%. The 99% are getting hosed. The 1% is only paying 6% in taxes. And then the 99% is paying 7, 8, 9, 10, 11%. Almost 5 percentage points more for working class peoples. That's ridiculous. That's not fair. That's not right. I like this sort of upside down map because it kind of shows what's going on. It shows how it's ridiculous. We have a regressive tax system. The middle and bottom are leading to growing income inequality. Unfairness in our tax system is largely a result of sales and excise taxes, which fall more heavily on low-income Kentuckians. The bottom 20% pay 5.5% of family income in such taxes, while the top 1% pay just 0.8%. Sales taxes are made slightly less regressive by exemptions for groceries, prescription drugs, and other personal items, but exemptions do not fix the problem. That's because low-income families typically spend all their income to make ends meet, while wealthier Kentuckians can afford to save a portion. It could be worse, ITEP shows. Okay, anyways. That's an important thing to understand. The wealth are only paying 6%, while the poor or the middle class are paying 11%. Tax the rich. Instead of cutting education, instead of cutting healthcare, roads, or the EMS, or the police, or the fire department, cut nobody and raise the taxes. That's how you want to talk about Kentucky Fried Pensions. You want to say the pension crisis? Just tax Wayne B. Hughes or Bradley Wayne Hughes. Tax the owner of the public self-storage. Tell him either tax him, put higher taxes on him, or tell him to move his headquarters into Kentucky. Either move your headquarters here, or you pay higher taxes. That sounds like a good deal to me. So, tax reform. We want fair taxes, adequate taxes that promotes the well-being of Kentuckians. Of course, that's true. Fair, adequate, promotes the well-being of all people. For the AG to say it's too hard to determine those costs, I had a career in the military. I can't imagine saying to my commanding officer, it's just too hard, sir, taking that hill. They're saying that it's just too hard to come up with a price. And how can we price how much it costs to kill somebody? It's easy to price. Just how much did it cost? How much does it cost with the electricity, the people, the media, the facilities, all the above? Put a price tag on it, because if it costs more money to kill somebody than it does to put them in prison, it is stupid to kill them. It makes no sense to kill people if it's more expensive to do so. It's cheaper to be humane. It's cheaper to be a decent person. The death penalty, my starry idealistic side says, to hell with death penalty, but I believe in some cases, eye for an eye is justice. And many times the justice system fails because they don't care about justice. They don't care about making the situation better. They want to declare winner and losers based upon influence and nepotism and prestige, but not based upon actual evidence and facts of the thing. So let's talk about the budget before I get tired of hearing myself talk. The expenditures. So we just found out that Kentucky spends $26 billion every year. We spend $26 billion. So that's quite a budget. But I also hear that we only bring in $9 billion. And then I hear that we have a debt of $45 billion. And then we have a GDP of $186 billion. So that's we have a high GDP. If we did as Japan, we could just multiply the GDP by 3, and that gives us $400 billion in GDP, and that actually saves us a bunch of money. So we should just borrow all the money and get out of it. Don't raise anybody taxes. Just raise the money with loans, and then buy a bunch of revenue-generating projects. Buy some gas stations. Buy some, water and some internet. Buy what else could the government buy? They could buy a professional sports team. I think it's a good idea. It'd be a harder sell because when they own, I think it'd be smarter to own gas stations than it would to be an NBA team. I think it'd be exciting to own an NBA team, keep that talent here, because both U of L and UK do not raise Kentucky players. They always buy from out of state. It's just one big show. So UK and U of L should have more Kentucky players. But that's, let's see. Revenue generating strategies. I think legalizing marijuana would be a revenue generating strategy. It'd be a ton of revenue. You could tax it plus the licenses. You can make some money. Casinos would be a ton of revenue. So that's a good idea. Then, let's see. Casinos, marijuana, land reform, and nationalizing coal. Land reform would revitalize the economy. It would shock the economy back into, everybody would be talking about it and working on different things. Land reform would be the smartest, one of the greatest economic boost. Just not a revenue generating plan, but it's a Keynesian sort of injecting the government into the system type of plan. So land reform is another $1 billion idea. It's a revenue generating idea. Everybody gets a plot of ground and then they can make stuff. We need to make a GDP. We need people making stuff. And so if you're not working at a factory and making like way more than what you'd be able to do with the machines, then just start making whatever you can make. That's how we get a high GDP, by making a bunch of stuff. And then when we have a bunch of stuff, we could sell it. Hopefully you make something that people have a demand of. And if they don't have a demand of it, you got to go out there and create that demand. You got to force the people to want your crap, right? That's what Walmart and all the rest of them do. But hopefully, actually, you would want to try to meet up with the demand with your supply. What do the people want? And then supply them with, whatever they want. And hopefully the demand is high for what you're offering. Economics 101. So revenue generate, and then nationalize the coal. Just take the coal fields over. The coal is ours. Pay, the coal operators whatever amount, the bare minimum amount to get out of Dodge. And then once we own the coal companies, then we can provide electricity for free. And then if we were to, charge a nominal fee, very cheap price, any of the profits would go towards capital improvements, infrastructure improvements, roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, salaries for public officials. But really, we got to look at the system. We got to look at this. I think the three biggest things that I want to advocate would be marijuana legalization. I want to write a bill, or write out my idea of how the bill would come out with marijuana. And then I want to write a jobs plan, because economics, it's all about the money. And then I'd want to come up with a something else. Let's see, a jobs plan, marijuana, and then the Constitutional Convention. I'd want to do all three. In the meantime, I'd have to, work by the current system that we got right now. But I think developing something brand new and thinking something new, I don't know. So anyways, Keynesian. We're all Keynesians, right? Milton Friedman's policies have failed 2008. We understand that not capitalism, but Milton Friedman's laissez-faire capitalism. Maynard Keynes, we're all Keynesian now. He wrote his general theory for economics, and he's right. So he says that government can influence how the economy works by either injecting a stimulus, doing something sort of radical that kind of shakes things up, or cutting taxes. There's ways to increase spending or decrease spending, right? That's how the government can affect economics. Increase spending or decrease spending, one or the other. And supposedly by lowering taxes, people are going to rush out and buy more stuff because it's cheaper in taxes. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. It makes more sense to have more public works projects. So revenue generating strategies: own a couple gas stations, legalize marijuana, land reform, nationalizing coal. And owning as many generating revenue. I mean, Boone County owns a golf course, so we could buy a couple golf courses. We could buy whatever we want. So, what are good generating, things that generate revenue? Buy a couple WalMarts, buy a couple McDonald's, buy some KFC. Just nationalize KFC. Just say KFC. The image and the name of it is ours. I mean, it's Kentucky Fried Chicken. So you can't go around using the K. They got to take the K off their name unless they want to pay us some of the royalties. I don't even know if we could. We don't have to extend their charter. We could just assume their charter, right? Just take it for ourselves. And that's that we're the government. The state, the Leviathan. The government can do whatever they want to do. They have a monopoly on the violence, and so they can force companies to act fairly. If they haven't been acting fairly, force them and then fine them. And if they don't do it, then you come back and you say, "Hey, you son of a bitch. What are you doing?" So the expenditures for the general fund, it was $9.4 billion. That's how much money was in the general fund, which is actually phenomenal information. $9.4 billion. Federal funds was $8 billion. Other funds was $8.2 billion. I mean, that's a pretty big other. Hey, here's some money from the state. Cool. And here's another check from the federal government. Nice. And here's a big old check from some anonymous source. What? Here's $8.2 billion from a random guy. Well, that random guy, what a nice guy. $8.2 billion, just go around throwing $8.2 billion everywhere. So that's $25.6 billion. And that's per capita expenditure per person. Frankfurt spending $5,841. And so that's per capita. So that would mean if they just stopped, if we just was to say no more Frankfurt, we don't need a government, and just all that money that they had taken from the feds and the state and wherever they got their tax dollars, just give it back to the people. Still take the revenue from the traditional sources, but once you get all that revenue, just cut everybody a check of $5,000. Use the $800 or so for the administrative cost to be able to implement the system. Everybody gets $5,000. So guaranteed minimum income, we would all get $5,000 if we were just to take the budget and dissolve it now. I think my plan for the GDP to triple the size of the deficit, triple the size of the GDP. That just brings so much money into Kentucky. That brings in so much prosperity. We can update all of our facilities, make us technologically astute, make us a competitor on the world scene. And we're not aiming to make Kentucky a Haiti. We don't want Kentucky to be a third world country. We want Kentucky to be a strong American state. We have lots of markets in Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Tennessee, all these adjacent states in the whole country. You're allowed to drive all the way to Washington if you want to. And so therefore we have all the markets in America. So if you want to start your own business in this country, if you're a foreign investor, you have lots of markets to choose from. Same thing with regular Americans. Same thing with wealthy people. So instead of trying to turn Kentucky into a cheap farm, we can actually make Kentucky into a strong, vital, a strong, vital economy where everybody's getting paid and everybody's doing well. But if we just listen to just the corporations, and we will all be cheap labor. We will just be wage slaves, just kissing our boss's butt for the rest of our life, going to some meaningless, redundant, foolish, stupid, repetitive job that you hate for minimum wage to help some corporation in Arkansas. If you work for Walmart, you're making Arkansas richer. You're making the Walmart family richer, you know. So, and if you buy from Walmart, if you buy from Walmart, but you're the patsy, you're the fool, you know. You're the one they tricked. Aha! We got your money. We got your money. So just compare the per capita expenditures to West Virginia. So Kentucky is $5,800, right, almost $6,000 per capita. But in Virginia, West Virginia, they're spending $12,000. How are they getting all that money? Where do they get all that money from? Other funds. They get $14 billion from other funds. You got to really look at this other funds. This anonymous guy, you know, it's like Santa Claus. Santa Claus came and dropped us a $15 billion gift. And so that makes West Virginia's per capita expenditure more than Kentucky's, more than Tennessee's, and more than Virginia. And West Virginia's struggling, so I don't even know what they're not even... They need to, you know, do their budget better. Someone needs to look at what's going on in West Virginia. A lot of people are getting paid high tax dollars. Expenditures by type. Did you see, too, the other and federal and state funds? It all seems to be pretty much one-third, one-third, one-third. So, you know, $8 billion, $9.4 billion, $8.2 billion, they're all kind of in the same ballpark. So we're getting the same amount from the general fund, which I don't know where that comes from. Then the other funds, I'm not exactly for sure where those comes from. And then the federal funds. Expenditures by function. State expenditures in Kentucky can be further broken down by function: elementary and secondary education, public assistance. Figures rendered as percents, indicating the share of the total budget spent per category. So we'll just take a look at this map, actually, because I think it'll say the same stuff. But expenditures by type. So elementary and secondary education gets 20% of the budget. Higher education, college, it gets the biggest chunk of the budget. I mean, that's a big chunk right there. So how come college is so expensive when we're giving college 25% of our tax dollars? And then 19% other, we don't even know where that's going. Medicaid gets 22%. Public assistance gets nothing. That's nothing. Look at that. That's like nothing. And then corrections, look at the jails. The jails, we put more money in jails than we do for, you know, I guess that's like LIHEAP and food stamps or something. So we give more money for corrections than we do public assistance. It's disgusting. This is disgusting. This sickens me. I'm sickened by this. And also you see the big sacred cows, right? College, you can't cut college, right? But I just don't see it's not trickling down. It's not getting into the right people's pockets. Medicaid, 22.5%. That's health care. But only, you know, we just signed up for Obamacare. So how are we going to pay for all this stuff, you know? Elementary, secondary education, corrections, transportation. So I guess what? Buses, cars for police departments, officials' cars, airports. What are we spending so much on transportation? Well, maybe road departments. So that's road department money. And bridges, corrections, Medicaid, college, K through 12, corrections. I want to get that into my long-term memory. Because higher education, Medicaid. So education is actually taking nearly 50% of the budget. So they care about education. They've been spending on education for quite some time. And then Medicaid is another, these are about quarter. They're taking about a quarter of the pie, right? And then corrections, it takes like a kind of a bigger sliver than public assistance, which takes like nothing. And then transportation is a big one. So I know I'm just kind of repeating myself, but I think that that's important to, you know, understand and get into your brain. Other, again, we got this mysterious other, well, you know, that's taking 20% of the budget. But the other ones we could see very much. Basically, the K through 12 in college is taking 45% of the budget. And then healthcare. So education, healthcare. You know, you all sit there and talk about healthcare. We got healthcare here. We spend 22% of our budget. So I guess that would be out of the $26 billion we spend. Out of the $26 billion we spend, 45% of it goes for education, 22% of it goes for Medicaid, 9% of it goes to transportation, and a little bit goes for jails, and an even smaller amount goes for public assistance. 0.9 for public assistance. Corrections gets 2.4%. So it's kind of sick. This budget is sickening. I'm disgusted by this budget. Here's where they get the revenues from. Sales tax, personal income tax, corporate tax, gaming tax, other taxes and fees total. So about $2,000 per capita. We get $9 billion, $2 billion total. Corporate income tax, we only get $401 million from corporate income tax. From the sales and the personal income tax, they get, look at all the much more money they get from personal sales income tax. So this means we, the people, again, are the ones shouldering the burden for the whole state. We, the people. The corporate income tax, they are not, $401 million. They're the ones with all the money. The corporations, right? These big job creators, they're the ones with all the money. But it's us, we the people, that's paying through sales and personal income tax. $3.7 billion from us, we the people. We pay $3.7 billion and they pay $401 million. That's ridiculous. Yes, it is. So, that's Kentucky's budget. It's I think we need more revenue generating plans. Not just my God, what else can we buy? We could buy fun things for the for the family, like a water park or some sort of Kings Island or some sort of amusement park. We could pay, the casinos, instead of legalizing, let private people come in. We can have a casino ourselves, the Kentucky Casino, the Commonwealth Casino. Legalizing marijuana is such a great idea. You make so much money off of that. Land reform will be hard to. Land reform would work. Land reform would work beyond our wildest dreams. But that's a big one. Land reform's a big one, and so is nationalizing coal. They're both big ones. But any business that you think can make money, whatever sells. What sells? You can sell food and gasoline and automobiles and houses, right? So. Get into those markets. Start building some houses, Kentucky. Start making some cars. Start building houses. Start offering food and water and gasoline, and we'll be okay. If everybody just start building houses, come on, Kentucky, quit being lazy. Start building some houses. What does it just take? Some foundation, some lumber, a couple walls, a little bit of drywood, right? Some insulation, a couple nails here, wham bam, thank you ma'am, you're pretty much done. That's all you need, right? So that's building a house. GDP is making stuff, so we got to make more stuff. And land reform and nationalizing coal, God, we would be able, that would increase revenues, and we could try different, and I think like having a entrepreneurial business, an entrepreneurial department, small business entrepreneurs. Anybody who wants to start a small business should get guidance and county agents. Right now we got county agents for our extension office. I don't know where the money for them come from, but that's something, right? That came out of the land reform of Lincoln, the county agents. And so since we have county agents, then we should use them. And we could have, that's just, building houses, providing water, internet. I think that'd be a good idea for them to get into the internet business. That seems to be a vital resource. It's going to be a utility forever. So just get into the business for maybe 10 years. Have a charter for themselves for 10 years. And just have a player. You can just be a player. Just because the government has a business doesn't mean that the government's business is going to do well. They got to compete in the free market. And so it's very possible politicians don't know how to run a business and it all fails. Or maybe the business just, it wasn't its time. But you can have internet, gas stations. I think they should own like water and sewage, but not because it makes money, just because it doesn't make money. So for actually the exact opposite reason. But internet, you can make money. Gas stations, you can make money. houses, building houses. And that's good for the economy, putting houses out there and then finding people who can buy those houses. Industries, actually start your own industry. We can, so for small and large entrepreneurs. So we just need like a department of entrepreneurs to help the headquarters, the big corporate headquarters, and all the banks and all the money to come in here. And then once we get the big headquarters, the money in the banks, then we can also get small business and working class people decent wage, and small businesses can have a program for entrepreneurs to start their own businesses too. That's what Kentucky needs to get creative. We need to get smart. We need to have a renaissance. So we need to have young, capable, creative. We need the creative class. We need the young, postmodern people who are internet whizzes. There's graphic design, just sitting on a computer and coming up with images and icons. You can make a job out of that. You can make a living out of that. Video work, editing, media, just technology, computer repair. Technology just offers an unlimited. It's the Gutenberg printing press revolution. It represents an unlimited resource, and therefore it should be utilized. So, a little bit about the budget. Jonathan Masters, run for Lieutenant Governor. Viva la Revolution.